Hello, trivia lovers. Welcome to Trivia Connections, where, through the use of linking academic trivia, we will help you learn more about the world around you and prepare for any game show or trivia competition. Today's beginning and ending subject will be Robert Louis Stevenson. Robert Louis Stevenson was born in Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland, in 1850. He is famous for writing Kidnapped, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and Treasure Island. The main characters in Treasure Island are Jack Hawkins and a peg-leg pirate named Long John Silver. And we're going to link Long John Silver with element number 47 on the periodic table, silver. Man has known about silver for over 5,000 years. Silver is a great electrical conductor and finds its biggest use as silver nitrate in the photographic industry. Silver was also the name of a horse in an old TV western called The Lone Ranger. Now, the Lone Ranger liked to use silver bullets, and he got the silver from his own silver mine. Besides the Lone Ranger and silver, there are other horses and riders that you need to know about. Tonto rode Scout. Roy Rogers had Trigger. Dale Evans rode Buttermilk. Robert E. Lee rode Traveler. General Ulysses S. Grant rode Cincinnati. Alexander the Great rode Bucephalus. Napoleon rode Marengo, and the Duke of Wellington rode Copenhagen. And we're going to take that horse, Copenhagen, and link it to Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark. Some Copenhagen landmarks are Christiansborg Palace, seat of the Danish government, Tivoli Gardens, one of the world's most famous amusement parks, and the Little Mermaid statue, based on a fairy tale by Danish author Hans Christian Andersen. Other must-know Danish people are Her Majesty Queen Margrethe II, Danish philosopher Soren Kierkegaard, quantum physicist and Nobel Prize winner Niels Bohr, and 16th to 17th century astronomer Tycho Brahe. And while we're on the subject of astronomy, let's cover some must-know astronomers. There was 16th to 17th century Polish astronomer Nicholas Copernicus, who first proposed the heliocentric or sun-centered solar system. 17th century German astronomer Johannes Kepler, best known for his laws of planetary motion. 18th century English astronomer William Herschel, who discovered the planet Uranus. And American Edwin Hubble, who discovered galaxies outside the Milky Way and devised the theory of the expanding universe. Now, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration thought that Hubble's discoveries were so significant, they named the Hubble Space Telescope after him.
4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery with the Hubble Space Telescope, our window on the universe.
Here are some pictures of some must-know objects taken by the Hubble Space Telescope. This is the Crab Nebula, the remnants of a supernova explosion that took place in the year 1054 and was visible to people on the Earth. This is the Horsehead Nebula, self-explanatory. This incredible picture of Saturn, the ringed planet. This is the Andromeda Galaxy, the closest major galaxy to our own Milky Way. And we're going to take that Andromeda and link it to a figure in mythology, Andromeda, the Chained Maiden, who was to be sacrificed to a sea monster called the Kraken, but was saved just in time by the slayer of Medusa, her hero, Perseus. And we're going to link Perseus to his namesake Perseid meteor shower, which takes place in the middle of August every year. And there's one more meteor shower you must know about that takes place in the middle of November every year, and that's the Leonid meteor shower. So now we're going to cover the necessary subject of Soviet leaders by linking the Leonid meteor shower to the Soviet premier from 1964 to 1982, Leonid Brezhnev. Next is Soviet leader from 1953 to 1964, Nikita Khrushchev, who's known for banging his shoe on the table at the United Nations. And Soviet leader from 1985 to 1991, Mikhail Gorbachev, the leader who introduced perestroika, meaning reformation for the Communist Party, and glasnost, meaning openness. And while we're in Russia, we're going to cover 3 czars that have to be in your repertoire. The first is the 16th century terrible czar named Ivan the Terrible. The next was a 17th century czar who established extensive reforms to move Russia forward, and his name was Peter the Great. And 18th century Tsarina, who was responsible for the building of the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, Catherine the Great. Now we're on the Hermitage, originally known as the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg, Russia, and from 1732 to 1917 was the official residence of the Russian monarchs. Today, it's restored and is the second largest museum in the world, the Hermitage Museum. Some other museums you need to know are the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, also known as the Met, the Prado Museum in Madrid, Spain, the Uffizi Museum in Florence, Italy, the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. This is the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Spain, designed by architect Frank Gehry. And this is the Guggenheim Museum in New York City, designed by architect Frank Lloyd Wright. And the Smithsonian Institution, which is really a group of museums in Washington, D.C. And lastly, the National Maritime Museum at Greenwich, England, which sits on the grounds of the Royal Observatory. Now, Greenwich, England is most noted for the fact that it lies on the prime meridian, the longitude line of 0 that runs from the North Pole to the South Pole. And the antithesis of the 0-degree meridian is the 180-degree meridian in the Pacific Ocean, the 2 lines dividing the Earth in half. Paralleling the 180-degree meridian, but zigzagging around island groups, is the International Dateline, where you gain or lose a day depending on which direction you cross it. One of the islands that the International Dateline zigzags around is a lush tropical island named Samoa. In fact, it's so beautiful here, you can imagine why this famous Scottish author would want to move here and spend the last of his years living in this tropical paradise. Have you made the connection? And with this, we have come full circle, for the answer is Robert Louis Stevenson. Thank you for watching Trivia Connections episode number 3, and we truly hope that you learned something new. This is your host, Stephen Farrell. Facts from Trivia Connections have been taken from Game Show Trivia, available on Amazon.com.